That's where I got, some of my perseverance,
Mhm.
because I don't know, I never knew what it was like to be easy,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
the way that she had to live her life, the way I lived my life was never going to be the easy way. I was
Mhm.
going to do it the hard way. I was going to fight. I was going to, find a way to succeed despite my circumstances.
Welcome to another episode of Grab Coffee with me, where great conversations and better coffee meet purpose and leadership. Today's episode is caffeinated by Dowden Golf Solutions, transforming corporate events one golf experience at a time. I'm your host, Ian Peterson. So let's jump in. Today we have a legend, and people use that term or that word loosely, but it's legit today. We have Pro Football Hall of Famer, class of 2003. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers Ring of Honor member, Super Bowl champion, five-time Pro Bowler, multiple Pro Bowls, named to the NFL 2000s All-Decade Team. Keep going. Buccaneers Man of
Yeah.
the Year in 2006. And where I met him as the co-general chair of the Copperhead Charities, the organization behind the PGA Tour's Valspar Championship. Proud husband and a girl dad. You have
Oh, yeah.
Rondé Barber. Welcome to the podcast.
What's
How
up?
you doing?
What's up, Ian? I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on. Good
Hey,
morning.
hey, yeah, I know. Good morning. I appreciate your time. And one of the things that we talked about, prior to this is having similar upbringings, right? I grew
Yeah.
up in a single family home in the Bronx, New York. Same thing, parents divorcing early. And you grew up in Roanoke, Virginia, being raised by a
Yes.
single mother who worked endlessly just to keep the lights on. How was that part of your story? How has that part of your story shaped who you are today?
Yeah, you always have to start there.
Yeah,
I mean, probably similar to you, because you had siblings. It's hard,
yeah,
but you
yeah.
don't realize it's hard. I think that's probably the best thing about my upbringing with my twin, with Tiki.
Hmm. Hmm.
We knew we were not like the other kids. We went to a high school, a middle school, elementary school, middle school, and high school in the county. And so Roanoke's got a city and a county. And the city is probably closer to our apartment where we grew up than
Hmm.
we went to school in the county, but we were on the county line. So it put us in a different demographic, if you will, totally different demographic.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Better schools, arguably better schools at the time. I don't even know if that's the case anymore. Around people that we weren't normally around, that weren't the type of people that we were going to church with,
Hmm.
didn't look like the people we'd see on the Eastern Shore of Virginia when we go visit my grandmother. And so it kind of provided a pretty diverse and somewhat unique upbringing, basically going to school with a bunch of white kids,
Yeah.
I look at it now as that's the trueness of my being, but
Hmm.
knowing that I had this other culture that was my mom's family and my mom's friends and whatnot. So in that regard, it was very unique.
Hmm.
But Roanoke's the type of town uh, that really teaches you values. I joke all the time, Ian. I'm like, it's
Hmm.
a great place to grow up and an even better place to be from. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I love my hometown. I don't think
Yeah.
I could live there.
Yeah. Oh,
Especially
yeah.
after
Yeah.
seeing some things. Um,
Yeah.
but the genuineness of the people that probably grew on me later in life. When you're young and you're living in those type of circumstances, if you will, it doesn't feel like everybody's with you.
Yeah.
For me, reflecting back on it now, I just realized the grace of the people that I grew up around was probably a big influence on the type of person I am today.
No, that's great. I can see that. I grew up in the South Bronx. It wasn't too many white people there. I didn't
Hmm.
experience that until I moved to St. Pete when I was 14 and went to high school. And and to me that experience was great. I always embrace differences, always embrace change. Even today, I'm really big on change, but I grew up in that crack era, of the Bronx and wanted to get out. I mentioned to you earlier that I didn't even know drug dealing was an option, but
Yeah.
I knew my mom struggled and I knew we lived paycheck to paycheck and she always made too much, for government assistance.
Yeah.
but not enough to make sure that everything was covered. But, it was, well, just think about it now because you just don't realize the struggle when you're in it. There were times, I guess, she didn't even eat dinner. I didn't know that until I grew up. But she also made time or made sure that we had a summer vacation and also a winter vacation. So we went skiing a lot, or we came down to Florida a lot.
Right.
She was raised here, but it just gives you a appreciation of being a parent. It gives you appreciation on life, on people, and
And it's
really.
probably because like you, I know she's a single parent. She struggled,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Single
Yep.
parent struggle.
Yep.
I mean, it just is what it is. It's raising multiple kids on your own is not just the
No.
time commitment, you know? I mean, like thankfully we're twins and we were
Yeah.
always going
True.
the same place at the same
Yeah.
time.
True.
I mean,
True. True.
but yeah, I said this in my Hall of Fame speech, and I'm sure
Hmm.
you can relate to this too.
Hmm.
When I got when I was writing my speech, I was trying to think of a way to, talk about my mom without like embarrassing her, and talking about how little she made. I mean, she worked for the Girl Scouts of America. I think she made most of she ever made was $32,000 a
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
which it's a struggle, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I had great family, obviously my
Hmm.
aunts, my grandmother. We had good friends, but none of them like really supported her financially, so it was a struggle, right?
Yeah.
She never, and I think you're kind of saying the same thing, you never felt that burden of that struggle, right? Because you still did things like
Hmm.
we needed cleats, we
Yeah.
needed track shoes, we needed wrestling singlets, whatever. I don't ever remember it being a problem. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So her
Yeah.
sacrifices didn't really impact us in a negative way, and I mean that's what parenting's about, man. And just blessed to have that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I remember as a child from the Bronx driving down to King's Dominion or Busch Gardens.
Hmm.
And those places are expensive. And I look
Hmm.
back, I'm like, how does she make that happen? We would go on vacation at Virginia Beach, but at the same time, hearing now, there was meals that she missed just because,
Yeah.
we would eat, and being that we were so oblivious, we would invite our friends over to eat, not knowing that she wasn't eating dinner that night. We thought she was
Sure.
okay. We laugh at those things now. Sometimes I cry about those things because of the sacrifices that, that she made for us. And I just have one daughter. I'm a girl dad, but it's just one. And so,
Yeah.
I cannot imagine it was four of us knuckleheads, but it made me stronger today. I'm the no excuse type person because really
Yeah.
there was no excuses back then. I grew up, we had to grow up fast. I have two older siblings and a sister. Then I have two, as I mentioned, I have two in Buffalo as well. But we had to grow because it was a Bronx single parent family home. We had to grow up fast. We had to figure things out while she was at work trying to provide for us.
Yeah. Right.
So how did that shape you as you grew up, as you went to college, as you played in NFL, as you retired? How did that shape your life?
Yeah, you know what? I think the best way I can say how is that, and you kind of mentioned it just now.
Hmm.
No excuses, right? I don't need an explanation for why I can't do something. I mean, I just
Yeah.
watched her do it. If I was reflective back then, I would have kind of realized that. Obviously, as you get older, you realize
Hmm.
that's exactly what it is. No excuses, no explanations. Find a way to grind through life, even if it's making you miserable, right?
Yeah.
I had a D line coach, Rod Marinelli, that used to always say, "You got to learn to love to be miserable." And I was
Yeah.
like, "What does that even mean?" Is that a cliche or is that true? But then, like,
Hmm.
when you overlay it on like reality, like what your life may have really been like
Hmm.
being miserable, you know, I, it is what it is. Like you
Yeah.
loved it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I never had a moment in my youth where I felt miserable.
Hmm.
And so I think my mom learned to love to be miserable because she was working two jobs
Hmm.
and she was trying to provide and transport two kids all over town. We were knuckleheads too. I love that she used that line because we were. But I think she just embraced that her struggle was going to be real, and that no matter what, you still got to live your life. You still got to raise kids. You still got to make the important things matter.
Yeah.
School, going to church, family, the things that are going to shape your life down the road. You can't sacrifice those or ignore those because you're miserable, because your life is miserable. So now I look look at myself and I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
that's where I got some of my grit from.
Yeah.
That's where I got, some of my perseverance,
Mhm.
because I don't know. I never knew what it was like to be easy,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
the way that she had to live her life, the way I lived my life was never going to be the easy way. I was
Mhm.
going to do it the hard way. I was going to fight. I was going to, find a way to succeed despite my circumstances type of
Mhm.
thing. And I don't know who else to give credit to that to. I mean, obviously, you have people that come in and out of your life, coaches, if you will,
Mhm.
friends or whatever, that they might impart some things on you, but it's the person you're living with daily that really gives you that kind of structure, and that's all mom, man. It's all
Yeah.
Geraldine Barber.
Yeah. Yeah. It's uh I met her. She's phenomenal,
Yeah.
and just kudos to what she did in raising the two of you. Now let's talk about that transition, right?
Hmm.
From playing professional sports at a high level, extremely high level, to after. How was that transition? Like, what was that moment? Or did you even have that moment? It's like, wow, what am I going to do next? What's now? What's coming up
Yeah, and it's
now?
funny you asked that because
Hmm.
I still ask myself that now.
You do?
It's like daily. It's like, the hell am I doing? Look, I'm fortunate, man.
Yeah.
I played at high level in high school. It got me to college. Played
Mhm.
at a very high level in college. It got me to the league. And then 16 years later, it's done. And when you think about that, when you really try to put that into perspective, that's like 20 years of high level football, talking
Mhm.
college and pro, where that's the only thing that I was really focused on. I had some other interest outside, of course I did, but in terms of a profession, it was football, and it was singularly focused. That's what Tiki talks about me a lot. He'll tell you that's the reason that I have a gold jacket, because I was very singularly focused on
Mhm.
being great at what I was doing, whether or not people believed I was great or not. I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Mhm.
I got put my put my foot on the gas and steer it as straight as I can, because I had one goal in mind. I was going that way for that success. So when I was done, I was lucky because I had played so long that I had what Tiki and I joke about a lot. I expertise about football. So like when you've done it that as long as I did, like
Mhm.
what else do you do? Like
Yeah.
I graduated from the McIntyre School of Commerce at University of Virginia, the Business School of Virginia.
Mhm.
So did Tiki. But that's 16 years ago,
Yeah.
right? Like I can't fall back on that on that, you know? I mean, maybe if I had some wherewithal, I would have,
Mhm.
gone to like a graduate school while I was playing, and kept it, that knowledge fresh. But like, it's gone, right? It's like I don't even remember what I learned. I don't even remember what I learned.
Exactly.
It's like I don't know. I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
But because Tiki retired a couple years earlier than me, 6 years actually earlier than me, and he got right to TV,
Mhm.
there was like this expectation that that's what I was going to do as well. I
Mhm.
mean, we kind of done everything together. It helped too that John Lynch at the time had retired and went to work for Fox.
Mhm.
So 2 years before I retired, Fox Sports was coming and knocking on my door asking if I was ready to
Okay.
do TV. So when I was officially finally done in 2012, my last year, I signed a deal with Fox in March of 2013. So I didn't really have that moment of what am I doing with my life, but because I knew exactly what I was gonna do for the next couple of years. I will say though, Ian, in that time, I worked for them for 7 years. There was always still a what am I really doing?
Yeah.
Right? I'm
Yeah.
only 37 and I worked there until I was 44,
Mhm.
45. I got all these years left ahead of me, and it's not going to all be in TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's fun to do.
Mhm.
TV is fun to do. Media stuff is fun to do, but like it doesn't really fill you with a lot of purpose.
Mhm.
And I think to answer this question, a lot of guys finish playing in the league or playing whatever or changing careers even, and you want to do because you've made it enough, you want to find a purpose. And guys have a struggle finding a purpose,
Mhm.
something to get you up every day, something to make you feel needed,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And I think that's where a lot of guys go wrong because they just they don't know where to find it.
Yeah.
They don't have the resources or the help or the friends
Hmm.
to help them get there. And I was fortunate, and I had that. I had people around here, and probably that is
Yeah.
because of the cachet that I made in this community.
Yeah.
Obviously, here so long, but a lot of people around town helped me find my new path, including being on the board at Copper Charities and
Hmm.
now the general chair for the last 5 years. So
Hmm.
that's is a reward, I think, for a life well lived doing what I did. But I don't discount that other people helped me get there.
I was going to ask you about just the Tampa Bay area. So you're so interwoven in the fabric of this area, but some people after they retire, they may leave and go back home, right?
Yeah,
Why did you choose to stay and do so much for the community locally?
yeah. Great question. In actuality, probably 14 years ago, Claudia and I, my wife, we bought
Hmm.
some property in Virginia with the intention of taking our kids out of school
Hmm.
once they got to middle school or whatever, moving back to Virginia, living up there right outside of Charlottesville. And so we had that land until about a year ago. And we sold it because we made a decision
Hmm.
probably 10 years ago that that's not what we wanted to do.
Gotcha.
I joke a lot with my Bucks people,
Hmm.
but it applies also to Tampa. Is I have a lot invested in the emotional bank account here, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's where I earn my living. It's where my kids. It's the only place my kids have ever known as home.
Hmm.
My best friends are here. I mean, aside from my brother and maybe one guy that I grew up with in Roanoke,
Hmm.
everybody that I want to be around is here. Obviously, I love the weather. I love the golf. I love
Yeah.
there's all those other things, right? I love the convenience of the airport.
Exactly.
But the reality is, I don't know that I could find the connection again back home because I ended up being here for so long. And Tampa's great, man. It's diverse. You can look this way, you can look that way, and you'll see one person that you really like, one person that you really like on either side, and they hate
Hmm.
each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like
Hey,
they're
even in
diametric
some
yeah,
chat groups, right?
right. They're like diametrically opposed, but like they're still kind of friends. And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
this is a
Tampa.
cool I'm gonna just be a mediator here, but
Yeah.
no, but Tampa's it's got its charm, man. It's Florida without being what it is on the East Coast. It's not what it is up on the Northwest Coast. It's not the Southeast Coast. Tampa's got this, I don't know, this kind of melting pot of a vibe that I really like. And it's helped that I've gotten involved with a lot of charities by being on this board, this Copperhead board for the last 10 years. You realize what kind of purpose that I can provide and help for people, and that's probably as rewarding as anything that I get to do is knowing that I get to have fun doing what I'm doing, putting on a PGA Tour golf event, but I also get to spend that money back into our local community with so many people that I walk in and they're like, "Oh my God, Lonnie Barber's here giving me a check." That's pretty cool, man. It's hard to explain what that really feels like, and I'm just proud to be able to do that.
Yeah. The I don't like to talk about Tampa too much because too many people are moving here. But I'm a I'm a foodie, and we talk about diversity. Just the food scene is
Yeah.
very.
What was it like when you first got here? Because it wasn't like that when
No,
you
it
first
wasn't like it, and I
at
lived in
all.
St. Pete at the time, and St. Pete
Right.
really didn't have anything going on from a food scene perspective. We would have to either go to Clearwater or Tampa,
Yeah.
but Tampa always had a lot of I would say the South American,
Yeah.
Hispanic cuisine,
Yeah.
which I
Cuban.
love. The
Right.
island, yeah.
Right.
Recently, when I say recent, maybe the last 10, 15 years, maybe 20 years, you start to see some of the, like what's going down on Water Street,
Yeah.
things, South Tampa or Soho area, Hyde Park, we used to have to drive over for those experiences. But, St. Peter's, it's popping now over there too. So, hey, if
That's where
anybody listening to this or watching this, you want to move here, move to St. Pete,
Yes.
they would love to have you. But, yeah, and you've been in this, area for quite a bit, so, yeah, it wasn't a lot going on, especially downtown Tampa,
No. No.
nothing
No. Been
nothing
here.
nothing at all.
How old are you right now?
Don't worry about that. Hey, listen, I'm younger than you. No, I'm
Right. I see.
48. I'm
I've
48.
been here. I've been here 28 years. So I moved here when you were 20. So I've been here for
Yeah.
28 years, man. And in that time, Tampa has turned into like a little eclectic, but
Yeah.
it's always going to be grounded.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
just kind of that area. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier. It's
Yeah.
a grounded area. The people are kind of what they are, even though there's a ton of people moving in here. It still feels like the groundness of this place is what it
Oh,
is.
yeah.
But in those 28 years, man, like there's restaurants that I go in today. Where did I go in? I was in one in St. Pete last week. And I'd never been in, and
Hmm.
it's been there for like you know 15 years. And I was like, how have I never been here, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
just just that scene here. It's really kind of cool.
It's funny. I grew up in New York, as you know, and as I mentioned, and I always get a lot of questions from people about restaurants in New York. And I'm like, that it's impossible to know everything. It's impossible. Tampa is getting close. It's so much going on in Tampa, the St. Pete area. And I get those questions here. I'm like, right now, my wife and I, my daughter as well, we're more so now these mom and pop restaurants,
Yeah,
not the chain. So we're visiting a lot of small places.
right.
In the past, it was a lot of the bigger names,
Yeah,
but it's
big
just
boss.
so many now. It's like I can't help. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in St.
I
Pete.
know people coming to town is like, hey, where should I? Hey, I'm here for 2 days. Where should I go to eat tonight? I'm like, hold on, I'll get back to you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not like I can just go, oh yeah, you got to go to Donatello's. Oh, you got to
yeah,
go to.
yeah.
It's like I'm like,
Exactly.
give me a second.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now let's talk about. We mentioned this a few times, but let's talk about the Valspar Championship. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
our PGA Tour event here locally. That's out of Ennisbrook Resort. It's played on the Copperhead course. Great event. Can you tell us, the impact that Valspar Championship have had on
yeah,
the Tampa Bay
yeah. I
area?
mean, it's again fell into a really good situation. Les Muma, who was a past general chair, big philanthropist that he lived over in big philanthropist at USF. And a great businessman. He
Hmm.
invited me to the board right not long after I retired, probably 2 years after I retired. So I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know that
Yeah,
there was an organization that put on PGA Tour events. I mean,
yeah.
obviously I was big into golf, but I was ignorant to the fact of how it operated. And
Hmm.
so I was like, be on the board, sure. What does that even mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
But quickly became part of the executive group, uh, and then moved into vice chair and then general chair, and that's largely because of my name and who I am
Hmm.
and the type of doors that I can get
Open.
Copperhead chair to. But it's this organization has been around since 1977, as you know, just to
That's the
host
year I
professional.
was. That was the year I was born. So it's 48
Yeah,
years old.
exactly. It's been around since 1977, just to promote professional golf. And so it's been a ride that was unexpected, right?
Hmm.
Because I got invited to be part of it, and then I saw the workings of it. And then I really enjoyed being part of it, much to the chagrin of my wife at times. She's like, God, you spend a lot of time doing this, this golf thing. I was like, well, it's worth it. Over those years, we're approaching giving $54 million to charity. I mean, we gave 1.623 last year
Yeah,
to
last year.
charity, and it's very hard in any community to generate that much money to local charities, just to
Hmm.
local charities. And so we pride ourselves on putting on a good event, a fun event, the most colorful PGA Tour event in the
Hmm.
world, yada yada
Hmm.
yada. The cliche line that we use with
Hmm.
them. But the real impact is that me and my board and our Copperhead group get to touch a lot of people around town. As you know, you're part of this
Yeah.
group, and it means more that our charities are whole than it is to put on a great event. Now we want
Hmm.
to see a great event. We want to have great talent. We want to have
Hmm.
fun for that week in March that we get to occupy Innisbrook and the Copperhead course. But the reality is, I really enjoy the philanthropic arm of Copperhead Charities. It's
Yeah.
giving out big checks in May and June when we do our charity care event every year. It's probably the best thing that we get to do.
Yeah, I wasn't able to do it this year, but I did participate the previous year, and just seeing the look on their faces, just the impact when we take the tours of the facilities, and so you
Right.
see where the donations are actually going. It really is a
Right.
great
And you realize all these little charities have their own little operations,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they might be a logo or a piece of paper in your
Mm-hmm.
everyday life, but like
Mm-hmm.
when you go visit what they're actually doing, you get on their campus or
Yeah.
you go into their facility to see how they're helping, you know, kids or women or whatever else,
Mm-hmm.
military, whatever it is. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you're like, wow, okay, there's a lot going into this, and our dollars are helping. So that's
Yeah.
that's that's
Yeah. Great. Now, what else do you have going on? What else do you have going on?
a little bit of everything, man. Like,
Mm,
people ask me, like, "Hey, what do you do now?" And I'm like,
yeah.
how do I answer this without saying I'm doing nothing, but I'm doing everything, a lot of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah. Did a lot of things.
I just recently became a partner in this company called Crooks and Marker.
Mm-hmm.
They produce this hard tea. It's called Cricket
Mm-hmm.
Tea,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm doing a lot of promotion with them, doing a lot of business development, helping them get into, say, like Publix in town here,
Yeah.
get into bars, point of sale type stuff with this new company, and it's been fun.
Mhm.
I didn't know that I wanted to be in it until I got
Yeah.
asked to be in it, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Sounds like
why not?
fun."
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's got the guy Ben Weiss who
Mhm,
actually started a company called Bai back in the day. It
mhm.
was a flavored water that he sold, and now
Oh,
he's
okay.
moving into the ready to drink, hard teas. And
Mhm.
they're in a couple of areas on up the East Coast. Tampa's their second distribution spot, and he asked me to be part of it, and I'm pretty excited. It's pretty new for me. I'm just kind of learning the ropes, but
Mhm.
uh, I'm loving it. Other than that, I still do a lot of stuff with the Bucks.
Yeah.
Obviously, um, I do their preseason games, create content for them during the
Mhm,
season, and then this year with one of their partners, WFLA, local NBC affiliate,
mhm.
I started a podcast, which is every week. I'm sorry, once a week, from their stream center during the football season with my co-host JB Buno, and we talk ball, we talk, some life, we have some guests, and it's really cool. Keeps me busy. I'm always writing, right? I'm always trying to
Yeah.
like script,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
keep myself relevant. So it's like, what are you doing? Well, I'm not really grinding on anything, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
doing a
yeah.
lot, and it's keeping me busy, and I'm enjoying it.
Well, you and Tiki, you guys wrote a book, right? A kid's book, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken?
So that
I
was
remember that.
so you're dating yourself because if you remember the book,
Yeah.
you were
You 'cause you mentioned writing, I'm like, didn't he write like a
yeah,
children's book or something?
we did 13 books in total. Three of
Okay.
them were picture books for like the
Okay.
younger. And then we did 10 chapter books over the course of, God, I think 12 years we did those. And that was pretty much middle of our career till about the end of my career.
Mhm,
And we put out one a year. And when I say we're writers, we're
mhm.
actually overstated editors. We
You
had
did? Okay, gotcha.
we had partners that
Yeah,
wrote them.
yeah,
Barry
yeah,
Root
yeah.
was this guy that wrote us the series of books with us, and he's
Mhm,
credited on the books as well. But yeah,
mhm.
we would give him storylines and
Yeah.
kind of loosely relate it to events that happened in our childhood, and then
Okay,
he'd
cool.
weave together this story, and like all of a sudden
Yeah.
we're novelists.
Yeah,
And
yeah, they
um, it's pretty funny though because, dude, every there's kid and like, I retired 14 years ago. Tiki retired, God, 19 years ago, right?
wow. I'm a Giants
And
fan too, so
yeah,
I
right.
remember
So,
that.
but like
Jeez.
I'll see
Wow.
kids now, Ian, that are like 26, 27 years old, and there's like no way that they would remember our playing career, right? But they come up to me and be like, "Oh man, you're Ronnie Barber. I remember I read your book, man."
There you
You know?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, you make me feel really old, but thank you. But and I'll talk to their parents, and their parents will be like, "Hey, man, your book got my kid to read. Thank you for all that." And like, that's kind of what we did it for.
Yeah.
So Tiki and I were Verizon literacy champions. This is how this came about. Tiki and I were Verizon literacy champions when we were both young in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's God, what was her name? Her name was Paula Wiseman from Simon and Schuster. And she
Okay.
was a publisher. Her son, who was probably 10 or 12 at the time, was a huge Tiki Barber fan. And she was like, who is Tiki Barber? And so she went and looked them up. So I had a twin, and she's like, I bet you those boys would be good authors for this series of books that they were thinking about doing. And it was just a natural marriage because we were into literacy and we wanted to get books in the hands of young boys because statistics will tell you that young boys, to a large degree, just don't
Mm-hmm.
enjoy reading unless you give them content that they're willing to consume. And so, two-star, twins playing football, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a pretty
Yeah.
easy sell.
Yeah. Perfect marriage. So if you, speaking of young men, if you could talk to your 12-year-old self
Yeah,
growing up in Roanoke, Virginia,
yeah,
what would you tell him?
yeah,
What would you tell
yeah.
him?
I would have to go find him on the pavement of our parking lot playing football
Okay.
barefooted. That's that's what we did in our youth because we didn't have a lot of money. We created our own,
Yeah.
malfunctions, and
Yeah.
one of them was, playing tackle football in parking lots and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What would I tell him? It's a good question. I'd probably ask him, man, this is a good question because I don't feel like we did anything that would have negatively affected how we ended up,
Mm-hmm.
right? We didn't know, we were knuckleheads. Like you said, we didn't do everything right.
Mm-hmm.
We took our chances with life, if you will, did stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I would tell him to keep finding ways to be yourself, right? The identity that when you're that age, you're trying to fit in, you're trying to be popular. And having kids now and having two different types of kids, my
Yeah.
youngest and my oldest are not anything alike, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I always encourage them when they were younger, just be yourself. In fact, to the degree that when they were like 4 and 5, my youngest wouldn't go to this karate class because her older sister wasn't going. Like her sister,
Mm-hmm.
just as my young one was like, I'm not going. I'm like, oh no, you're going. And so like, I don't care. You committed to do this. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
if you don't participate, you're going. You signed up for this. And
Mm-hmm.
so to the point where after that, I really forced them to try to be individuals and
Mm-hmm.
and chase your passion. It doesn't have to be what your sister's doing. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be what your friends are doing. So if I had any advice for my 12, I'd say, yeah, just be who you want to be. You don't have
Yeah.
to do what Tiki does all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to fit in with your friends all the time. Chase your passion. And my oldest daughter, I love her to death. She's a brainiac, kind of nerdy little
Mm-hmm.
girl.
Yeah.
She's unique, and I appreciate her uniqueness more than I can ever express. I'm just proud of, her being her, and I think that message is important.
Yeah. Great. Now, this is a podcast over coffee, but your introduction was so long, I forgot to ask you what is your go-to coffee? Are you a coffee person?
I am a huge coffee person. This is funny
Yeah.
too because
Yeah.
when I growing up, my mom drank coffee like
Yeah.
a pot by herself. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what are you drinking? And so like, I don't know if that was like Freudian. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not drinking coffee. I'm like, well, mom drinks coffee. I'm not going to drink coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I retired and I got a little older and I started.
It's
It's
just
like
touch me. Go.
I get why my mom drinks coffee.
Yeah.
So yes, I am a coffee drinker. Go to. So I drip my coffee at home. Like I
Okay.
don't have a
All right.
maker.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still put it.
Mm-hmm.
Boil the water, drip it in, and I use this brand. And I got introduced to this by actually the same guy that I was talking about in Texas earlier. He
Mm-hmm.
introduced me to this brand called Intelligentsia, and so I've been an Intelligentsia coffee drinker at home for
Mm-hmm.
forever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny when my oldest daughter went to University of Chicago, there's this like hotel that we stayed in, and right across the street was this divey little breakfast place. Like you just walk in,
I love those.
think South Side of Chicago.
I love those.
You walk in, you're like, man, it looks a little grimy in here, but it's nice and quaint. And we sit
Mm-hmm.
down and they have Intelligentsia coffee. Every time I
Wow.
went to Chicago, I went there and got
Yeah.
I went there and got coffee.
Check that out. Now you travel a lot. So what was what's your favorite coffee memory or coffee shop in your
Yeah.
travels?
That's a good question. Favorite coffee shop. We were just in God, where were we going? We were in New No, 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 no. We were in Maine. My
Okay.
wife goes to Maine every year for this golf event. Actually, it's a celebrity golf thing up there,
Hmm.
and we always fly in the afternoon, and then the next day, this little downtown quaint Maine, this town in Maine. God, what's the name of the? I forget the name of the coffee shop, but it's right on
Hmm.
the water, and it's right outside the hotel. We always stop to, and it's just unique. It's just
Yeah.
coffee shops that have character, their own
Yeah. Yeah.
separate character. I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna hit you later, and I'm gonna tell you the name of this coffee
Okay.
shop.
All right.
One
Gotcha.
of those, it's
Gotcha.
one of those places where like I don't even remember the name because I just go in and walk right in, like and just
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
we
It's yeah.
discovered this by accident,
Yeah.
and now it's some place that we look forward to going every time I go in there. Go
Very
in.
cool. 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 So hopefully they notice it's my hat. This was
Yep,
given out at the Hall of Fame and induction.
yep,
Actually, I keep it up there. You see that empty
yes,
space right
indeed.
there? That's
Yeah, that's
That's
the
where I
spot.
keep it. That is the spot. So I just thought it was appropriate that I wear it today. Thank you, Rondé. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you joining the podcast.
Yeah,
And to my audience, thank you for listening to another episode of Grab Coffee with me. Again, caffeinated by Dowden Golf Solutions. I hope you learned something today because I did. And if you like this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss what's brewing next. Until next time, keep your coffee strong and your conversations meaningful.